Hey, hey, Cancer. Mel, intuitive coach here. Excited to bring in your September 2025 monthly reading. All right, let's open up your energy field and take a look at what September 2025 has in store for you. Bottom of the deck, we have Heart's Desire. This is beautiful. A lot of you are going through a bit of a heart chakra activation, meaning you could be making decisions that come from your heart space. This is about you opening up the heart to bring in more joy, more pleasure. You have the Ace of Cups here as well. But some of you may have gone through a process of taking a look at what was contributing to any heart blockages. Now, because we have heart health coming through, some of you may have had some physical manifestations show up in that heart space. Now, I do see the death energy at the bottom of the deck. Now, this isn't going to resonate with everyone, but it feels like some of you may have a loved one in spirit who may be connecting with you, and they may have had issues around the heart. And I feel like you are going to receive a clear sign from that loved one. Maybe lungs were related as well. I'm also getting here breast cancer. You may be someone who has been working on forgiveness, perhaps isolation, anxiety, depression, loneliness, anything that can cause our heart to feel hurt or restricted in any way. And I'm talking about that because I see the devil showing up in your reading. And because you have Heart's Desire here at the bottom of the deck, this tells me that you are starting to listen. You're starting to listen to your body. You're starting to pay attention to what brings you joy in your life and what drains you of joy. This is about a love for what you do. And many of you are taking steps towards a career or perhaps a partnership or even acts of self-love by taking care of your body, what you put into your body, whom you surround yourself with, and the input that you receive from your environment. It feels like these are all things that you have been investing or looking into. And Heart's Desire can also be opening up to a new experience around love or relationships. I see some of you may even have a passion project that you are working on at this time. This could be something that you create, but it comes from a space of authenticity. It is soul aligned, meaning you're not creating based on expectations or fears. It feels like this is something that really brings you joy, and you may be called to branch off and maybe open yourself up in bigger ways than you could have ever thought possible. So Heart's Desire is highlighted for you. Now, it's right now, it's at the surface, we shall say, but I feel like you have the ability to go deeper within this energy. After all, Cancer, you are a water sign. You are the energy of emotion and heart. So key themes that are popping up for you this month, you have the great outdoors. The great outdoors is a beautiful reminder during this Virgo season to get outside if you are able to. Spend some time kayaking, paddleboarding, getting out and going for a hike. Some of you may be going camping. There may be bonfires. It's also the seasonal shift where we're moving into the autumn equinox here in the northern hemisphere. So you may have some events that are coming up, but it's also back to school for those of you that have school-aged children. I'm also sensing some of you could be teachers, okay? That's something that's coming through here. Now, Cancer, I feel like you are someone who feels best when you are connected to Mother Earth in some way, meaning you could be utilizing plant-based foods or fruits or vegetables that come from Mother Earth without the processed additives. Many of you are getting back into a healthy diet or a healthy exercise regime. I see here that you may be shifting as well into this seasonal change. Your body is shifting, and mentally you're getting back to a space where you're feeling perhaps a bit more organized, but I still feel like you're having fun within this discipline. It's the spontaneous discipline, if you will. That's what came up in Gemini's reading. So some of you may even have Gemini in your chart, or you may be right on the cusp of Gemini. Now you have here soul purpose. Soul purpose is about the calling. It is about a major awakening that has been stirring up within you. That's why the death card is here, because this can be endings and beginnings, but it's through transformation. Now, we know that energy can neither be, it cannot be destroyed. It can be transformed into something new, something else. And I see that you may be shifting energetic frequencies here and moving into something that feels more meaningful. It feels more purposeful and even more insightful, whether this is a career path or a relationship for you, or even, indulging in life's pleasures instead of depriving oneself. It feels like there may have been a bit of deprivation here, perhaps because you've gone through this transformational period. You may have felt a bit stuck. And I always say, if we are stuck, it's because we are not fully initiating change. We may be resisting change whenever there's that feeling of being stuck. And this is about you discovering that there is a whole nother side of you that is ready to be born. You are entering into this new era, this new life for yourself. And I feel like it's because you've been doing the work, and now you get to open up that heart center after going through a period of, again, something with the heart space. Maybe it's felt a bit lonely for some of you. Perhaps you felt like you've had anxiety over finances, or you've struggled with health issues. Whatever your troubles are, it feels like you're finding meaning within them, and your life is being divinely guided. There's direction coming through here for you this month. And I also am seeing here spiritual guides are showing up in your world, where you may be connecting to your spiritual team. You may be working more with your guides than you ever have. You could also be calling in ancestors or even ascended masters. You may be working with the elemental realm, hence nature coming through, the fairies and trees and water and earth and air. I feel like you are connecting to a deeper vibrational frequency here. And you have milestones. Beautiful energy here. This tells me that you have done the work and you get to reap the rewards here. This is accomplishment. And for many of you Cancerians out there, this is personal accomplishment. This is something where you feel proud of you. Now, it doesn't mean that there's not going to be external validation, but that true personal piece of it comes through, where you are proud of how far you've come, or you may be proud of your accomplishments. And I see that there could even be a reward attached to this, a promotion, an achievement of some sort, or you feeling more successful. Now, whatever success looks like for you in your life, whatever area, this could even be multiple areas of your life as you fully surrender into your heart's desire here. It feels like you're allowing and receiving more happiness because you're looking for it, you're creating it, and you are choosing healthier options. And instead of getting stuck in the patterns, getting stuck in the loops, which is also interesting. Now that I'm looking at your cards, I see the devil in your reading, and the death is at the bottom of the deck. And these two cards together came up in Gemini's reading as well. Are some of you dealing with a Gemini? Maybe you're about to meet one. Or again, if you have any strong Gemini placements, you may want to check out that reading because there's some similarities here. Now, And death at the bottom of the deck tells me that you've gone through some sort of transition, and this transition has initiated change. And perhaps this change felt like something outside of your control. But I see here, ultimately, this was to liberate you, or perhaps liberate someone around you through maybe the death process. Some of you may have gone through the loss of a loved one, perhaps a bereavement, and it changed you. It shifted something within you where you'll never be the same Cancer you were prior to this energy. And I feel like it was meant to shift you in some way. Now, for others of you, there may have been a relationship or an experience that has transformed, and you may be taking a look at the avoidant tactics. Sometimes the devil showing up here can be avoidance. It can be unhealthy patterns that we have created from past engagements, because more often than not, we are responding to life based on what we have gone through in the past. And unless we consciously choose, Cancer, to interrupt the cycles that limit us, that hold us back from our heart's desire, from that true soul alignment, we repeat, we repress, we avoid, we run, we continue eating the sugar, we continue participating in relationships that don't have an emotional foundation or substance. We fill that void with food, with drugs, with alcohol, with social media, with shopping, whatever it is, whatever your vice is. Sometimes we turn away from that very emotion or that very thing that we don't always want to face. And sometimes we don't even know how to face it. Like, what is this? How do I get back on track here? And that's what's happening this month. I feel like you are consciously aware of what's not working. I mean, we are very intelligent beings, very intelligent individuals, Cancer. So you know what's not working in your life. And instead of choosing to repress, I feel like you're choosing to face something through this soul purpose, because this is part of your very being. This is part of your very existence. There was a time in my life where I was not paying attention to my emotions, and I would choose to fill that void with what I had witnessed growing up. It was alcohol, and it was, binge watching on Netflix, or it was the things that tend to take us away from our true soul essence. And finally, I realized, like, I don't even know me anymore. I need to shift something. And it's when we become consciously aware that we are no longer in touch with our essence, that's when the devil shows up in our world. We come face to face with it. This is fear looking at fear. And you are brave enough to do so. So whatever this devil is in your life, intuitively, you are being asked to face it. And I see here with the High Priestess showing up, there may have even been secrets. There may have been lies, because the High Priestess with the devil can be a sneaky energy where you could be lying to yourself. We tend to, again, look in a different direction because we've gone through pain, we've gone through heaviness, and sometimes we don't want to face it. But I feel like the High Priestess is saying here, I got you. Sometimes it feels like the emotions that we experience, this is your energy. The High Priestess is you, Cancer, your major arcana. And sometimes it feels like the emotions are big, scary, monsters under our bed, where the illusion of them feel bigger than the reality of them. Because emotions, when we are able to look at them, when we're able to bring them up and allow ourselves to feel a certain way, then we're able to release them, because we're not meant to carry, suppress, or hold on to that feeling forever. And so whatever this has been for you, you're ready. You are ready. Now, I am going to skip ahead here and jump into your chakra that is being highlighted for you. You have the sacral chakra. Some of you have had perhaps challenges around sexuality, pleasure, joy. Maybe that sacral chakra can be our reproductive system. It can be our pleasure zone. And it says here, I am a mentor, not a rescuer. I avoid continually sacrificing my own happiness for others by rescuing and enabling them, as doing this may hinder personal growth for both of us. I choose not to be a martyr. I am a mentor, not a rescuer. I do not assume that everyone wants my opinions and solutions to their life challenges, and if I am in doubt, I will ask them. I take responsibility for my own happiness. For many of you, this may be where that block lies, right? Maybe you feel by helping another individual out, by giving them the benefit of the doubt or making excuses or covering up in some way, repressing, that you're doing them a favor, that you're doing yourself a favor, but it's not doing anybody a favor. If anything, it is causing both of you to not be honest with yourselves. And maybe that was part of why this ending has occurred here in some way. Again, whether it's your professional life, your personal world, or even your own body, your own health. And so many times we don't listen to our body, but our body is constantly giving us those physiological cues, such as butterflies in the stomach, the clenching of our jaw, the tightness of our throat, the heaviness in our chest, which signals to the brain that there's danger, right? Danger, danger. And we immediately go into fight or flight. You're learning something very valuable at this time, Cancer, and I don't feel like you're going to take it for granted because you have the privilege. The 10 of Pentacles is privilege. Now, some of you, this is related to family drama. It's related to financial debt. It could even be connected to legacy, family, ancestral wounding. Some of you may have come from a bloodline where you feel like there's been repression after repression in your parents and your grandparents where people didn't talk about things, right? They didn't put it out in the open. Everything was kind of brushed under the rug. We didn't talk about the heavy things because we just don't do that. That's not what we do in this day and age. But you have the ability to break that cycle. You have the ability to teach others through being that mentor, not a rescuer, not a martyr. You have the ability to break generational trauma and cycles. And I feel like it starts here with you. It starts with you being consciously aware to interrupt this pattern that has been going on for many of you for many, many decades, many, many cycles of bloodlines here, lineage. Now, the 10 of Pentacles is also about, it's also about material wealth versus emotional well-being. You may have had an imbalance, maybe dealing with another individual, or this is something within yourself where you are focused on external validation versus personal alignment. Because perhaps having that false sense of security externally had created a false sense of security internally, but that's not working. That may have crumbled for you in some way. It was short-lived. When it's attached to the devil, Cancer, it is short-lived because the devil holds us in contempt, right? The devil is instant gratification or it's quick pleasure without it being sustainable, without it having the true backing that the soul essence needs to not get us in this loop of avoidance or toxicity or addiction or bondage. And you're realizing and recognizing the pattern. Some of you are psychologists. Some of you are healers, light workers, mentors. You are here because you are being your own mentor. You may be learning at this time from someone else. All right. You may be learning through their teachings, but many of you are the teacher. And I think I mentioned that in the beginning of your reading. Now, of course, this can be teaching in a traditional sense in a school system, but many of you are teachers of spiritual knowledge or helping people because you've gone through something here that's been difficult. And with this 10 of Pentacles, I feel like you get to create legacy. You get to balance out the material world and your spiritual world, your emotional world as well. You get to see both of them reflecting instead of this closed gate. And you have the privilege in this lifetime to be able to open this gate and help a lot of people, because the 10 is a lot of people, right? It's a lot of energies here, and you get to inspire and show up in a way where you're being unapologetically yourself, you're being authentic, and you are coming from a place of soul essence, of heart, instead of fear that the devil can provoke. Now you have here the Hanged Man, the Five of Wands, and the Ace of Cups. Beautiful energy with the Ace of Cups, because you felt like you were stuck in this loop, this pattern. There were times years ago where I was in this loop, and I'm still having this human experience where I catch myself going through these loops where I feel stuck. And when I do, sometimes it's days, sometimes it's hours, sometimes it can be weeks, and I catch myself and say, all right, Mel, where does change need to occur in my life, and how am I resisting? Because we fight to hang on, we fight to let go, do we not? And I see here that you're waking up. You're waking up through this death energy of transformation. And this is about you not resisting the change. Oftentimes, which you can see here, the crown chakra, there's a rainbow above the bat here, or above the head of the bat. And you may have felt like you were delayed. You may have felt like you were stuck, but it was actually to help you see things from perhaps a new perspective than you were able to see prior. The Hanged Man is the awakening, the brink of awakening here. And it can even be that martyr complex that was mentioned in that sacral chakra. And I feel like you are taking a look at old outdated beliefs, old stories, old conditioning, Cancer, and you're saying, I am a warrior. I got this. There's nothing that I cannot get through. And that's the truth. Even through this death and rebirth process here, you realize that everything is changing. That is the one constant in life, is change. And you have here the Five of Wands. The Five of Wands can be a competitive energy. It can be an energy of other people involved, as I've mentioned, with that 10 of Pentacles. This could be family. This could be people that you work with. It could even be a community of friends or individuals where there is some sort of competition. There is some sort of tension here, but you are able to try something that you've never tried before. You're able to respond in a way that you've never responded before. Therefore, you cease to go round and round. You don't have to repeat the same loop. And some of you may have been dealing with people that you were just butting heads with. Perhaps there were opposing views, but now I am getting the message of constructive criticism. You're able to use what you've gone through constructively and apply it to your world right here, right now. I feel like you're staying more present. I feel like you are finding ways to collaborate. And if there is any unnecessary criticism, I feel like you're cutting it out, or you're saying, no, I don't have to be a part of this drama. I don't have to be involved in this unnecessary conflict. I'm going to choose to rise above the mess, rise above the fray. But I do see here also that if this is a personal conflict here with your own self, or if this is something that you want to mend and heal, you see these two kites being flown by the children. There's something around perhaps childhood wounding, or sometimes that child within us throws a fit. Sometimes we get agitated or aggravated. Sometimes we are tired, we're hungry, or we just want to be seen and heard and loved and respected. And you see the two kites are looking at each other eye to eye. And it could be because there is a little bit of conflict based on someone's devil, right? Based on someone's ego, we'll say. And I see that you're not afraid to face something that you need to face, but you're also wise enough to be able to know what the difference is between evolution, taking constructive criticism, and just being disrespected. I mean, there is a complete difference here. And I see that you are moving into this beautiful soul quenching renewal, where instead of there being resistance, instead of there being that back and forth here constantly for you, now you have flow. Why? Because you trust. You're trusting in the changes that are taking place here. And when you trust, when you surrender into that trust, you're not fighting it. You're not fighting when things are wanting to leave your life and enter your life is the best way I can put it. There are energies that are meant to stay, and there are energies that are meant to enter. And that's why the devil is here, because certain things you may be facing, it could threaten someone's sense of security. But if it's a false sense of security, let it crumble, because you're building something that feels a lot stronger. So Ace of Cups could be the beginning of a new relationship. It can be, well, the heart's desire here. It is a new love connection. It's emotional fulfillment, curiosity, positivity, hope, and self-love. All aces are gifts. And if you were dealing with a person who was emotionally immature, or perhaps there was an emotional imbalance here within your own heart, I feel like you're facing it, you're addressing it, and you're saying to yourself, all right, I'm not going to suppress this. I'm not going to run from it. I'm not going to hide from it. I'm not going to numb it or feed it that void, that false sense of security. I'm going to face it head on here, because I know my worth. I know that I'm here on planet Earth with a purpose. I am purposeful, and I am going to choose within my intentions to be purposeful with everything I do. All of my relationships, all of my interactions, all of my work, all of my manifestations. I am living a purposeful, driven life. Isn't that a book, Cancer? Is that a book? If it is, you may want to check that out. All right. So let's look at finances, career, money, and abundance. You have the light bulb. The light bulb is new ideas, new income sources, feeling inspired, feeling like you have this ability here to bring your idea to life. And you absolutely do. Now, some of you may fear not being good enough or not being seen. Some of you may fear the spotlight, or perhaps you fear technology. I see here that you have the ability to learn. You have the ability to grow and to thrive. Now, some of you may have a new job offer coming in. Yes, that means you get to leave behind this toxic one, or one that's felt very heavy, perhaps full of lies or secrets. Perhaps you were feeling like you weren't fully able to be the creative self that you are. And the Ace of Cups is bringing in a new gift, a new opportunity, doing something that really lights you up, hence the light bulb. Many of you are entrepreneurs. You may be healers, as I've mentioned. Some of you may work in nature. Perhaps you work in a greenhouse. You may work with plant medicine. I'm getting someone working in their garden as well. Perhaps you have thought about maybe baked goods or canning, or using Mother Nature in some way, like wellness products, essential oils, making plant-based products, skincare products that help people, help the planet. I'm also getting here, you are someone who's not only highly creative, but you have the backing. There's something about having the backing or having the resource. And you may think to yourself at times like, Mel, I'm not sure I have that backing, or I feel like I don't have enough time, or I don't have enough funds or finances. Spirit is saying here, we're helping bring this together. I feel like you are being asked to take the first step here. As the old saying goes, take 10 steps, or take one step toward the gods, they take 10 steps towards you. That's the message I'm getting here, is take a step towards your heart's desire, and you're going to see the doorways start opening here for you. Now, we have take action. Whatever your question is, this is telling you, go for it. Whatever it is that you've been contemplating here, Cancer, go for it. Do not procrastinate. The devil can be procrastination. For for about a good year, I would say. I wanted to be a morning person, as in getting outside by 6 a.m. and I wanted to hike between 6 and 7. But, I love my morning routine. I loved where it was at, but I wanted to incorporate more nature. And I loved my sleep, of course, but I kept saying I want to be that nature morning person. And I said it for about a year before I finally, this last spring, said, all right, it was one of you beautiful commenters had commented during a video prompt of your favorite quote, and someone had dropped in the comment section the quote that stood out the most was either one day or day one, where we can tell ourselves one day we're going to do it. One day we are going to start that business, that YouTube channel. One day we're going to open up and say yes to a date, or one day we're going to start building our dream home. Whatever it is that you've been wanting to do, it can be something small, it can be something large. You have the choice to say, I can take those steps now, right? One day I can do it, or day one starts right here, right now. And this last spring, this last March, I started to get up earlier, and I make sure at least 4 or 5 days a week that I am out hiking at 6 a.m. And I consciously interrupt the patterns where the devil comes in and says, Mel, sleep that extra hour. You're still going to have a great day, a great morning. But you know what? I have a better day and a better morning when I get out there and get on that hike. So we have to choose to constantly interrupt the devil saying, well, get instant gratification here. Just sleep a little bit longer. You'll feel better. But ultimately, what feels better to my body is getting out in nature first thing before I do anything else. And that's the message that's coming through here, Cancer, is you are choosing some responsibilities, but they also aren't a quick, easy fix for you. You're just asked to take one step. One small step a day is what adds up to the biggest change. So take action. Don't procrastinate. Nothing will change if you don't take action. Don't let the opportunity pass you by. So you have this ability to create change right here, right now. Next, you have the butterfly. The butterfly can be sudden changes here. It can be a short-term loan for some of you. It can be artwork, arts and crafts. Some of you, this has to do with movement in your career. Your career could move quickly here in some way, some aspect. For those of you that are entrepreneurs, you may have a new offer that comes in suddenly. This could be a temporary job or a position. It could even be creating and making work more fun, because there is an emphasis on your reading today, Cancer, about, fun and joy and pleasure. The butterfly also represents change. So when it comes to your career, I feel like you're changing things up. If you have procrastinated, if you felt stuck in your career, or if you felt like your intuition was blocked here, maybe you were focusing too much on the external world. What are people going to think? Or how much money is this going to make me? Instead of remembering your why, that's what you're getting in touch with this month, your why. Instead of letting that sneaky devil try to come in holding you hostage. Yeah, cramping your style, Cancer. No more of that. You have a beautiful new invitation or an offer to invite more trust, more play, more curiosity, and more flow into your financial sector. All right, let's look at love. Oh, we have the coffin here. As I've mentioned earlier, some of you may have gone through a bereavement, the loss of a loved one, and I'm sending you a lot of hugs. It's not an easy thing to go through. And this may be something, instead of, again, repressing or not dealing with, sometimes we fill that void with work, workaholism, or we busy ourselves with anything besides dealing with grief or loss. And typically that's going to come back and bite us at some point if we push it to the side. Now, I understand, as well as anybody else, especially because of where I've come from, I understand that this is something we all do. It's a coping mechanism. It is a defense mechanism where we tend to shove those feelings aside because they're strong and they're heavy heavy and they're painful and we just don't want to feel them. You have the opportunity here to liberate yourself, to feel some feelings and emotions, to gain the amount of closure that you need to take one step and put it in front of the other. It doesn't mean that you're erasing an experience. It doesn't mean that you are not sitting with something here, but it feels like you are able to be reborn through whatever this death process has been in a relationship or in a family dynamic. Some of you, there may have been a tragic ending. Someone may have died tragically here. There may also be a new beginning that is stemming from maybe a metaphorical death, an ending of a marriage, or perhaps some of you, yes, you could be widowed as well. And I feel like September is a significant month. I'm actually seeing beautiful fall colors. I'm seeing a map, and I think that is Maine over here. There could be something here with maybe the East Coast. Perhaps some of you live on the East Coast, or this may resonate with someone I'm getting, again, Maine. And I'm seeing ashes being scattered. I see fall colors. So perhaps September or autumn time, autumn season was someone's favorite time of year, or perhaps someone's crossing, maybe a birthday. But it feels like there is relevance here in September regarding an ending. Now, you have here the poker face. That can be that devil, right? That can be the intuition holding your cards until you feel like you have the right hand to play. And that's many of you when it comes to love. You may have gone through an experience in the past that you needed time to heal from, grieve from, recover from. Of course, you don't want to jump from one thing to the next, because that can be that avoidant tactic, or it can even be, not facing something. You can do that by all means if you are, healing, and if you feel like you don't have to pause in between. If you are growing and evolving and becoming a better version of yourself by doing so, then that is your prerogative. But I feel here with the poker face, you have the ace that's standing out. It actually looks like double aces here. There's the gift. There's that ace of cups. So some of you, after holding your hands, because maybe you feel like you didn't have anything good to play. Maybe you dipped your toes in the water, but there was nobody out there. Or perhaps you've gone through a period where you've separated yourself from your spouse or a partner or a family member. But now it feels like you are taking a risk. There is a new love offer. There's a new invitation on the table, quite literally with the poker. And I feel like you're ready to play. You're ready to bet the odds, because you have here the winning hand. Now you have the healing heart showing up here. So this kind of goes into context with the liberation. I feel like I read these backwards. It's actually healing heart, I think was your first card out. So this is about healing heartbreak, toxicity, addiction, maybe even abusive relationships. You may have healed that. The coffin, that's putting it to the end here. It's nailing the nail in the coffin. It's new beginnings, liberation, stopping the pattern. And then the poker face. All right, I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to take a risk. I'm going to put myself out there with that ace. So wherever you are at in your relationship journey, you've gone through periods in your life where people have hurt you. People have let you down. People have left, both physically, emotionally, mentally. And I see here that you are opening yourself up to taking a risk here when it comes to your heart, because your heart here is opening up to more passion, more joy, more love. And when you start to open, you're attracting that back into your world. All right, lastly here we have the Queen. I'm going to find the Queen in the book. I love this book. It is the Wild Unknown Archetype. By the way, for those of you that are interested in any of the decks used, you can always find them in the description box below. All right, Cancer, the Queen is the Empress, the Mother Queen, the Sovereign. Like her counterpart, the King, the Queen has a dualistic nature. Either she presides over the realm with grace and eloquence that comes from the heavens to uplift the spirit of others, or she falls into petty, contemptuous moods, casting a shadow across the land. If the king is the ego, the queen is the expression of that ego in the world. She is the lotus's bloom, the dancer's bow, the moon's radiant reflection. When the queen is seated in her rightful and righteous place, she is patient and forgiving. She waits for the grace of God and Goddess to move through her, striving and grasping for nothing. To be the benevolent leader, to embody the queen, is to settle into deep trust, resolve, and power. The royal queen fears nothing, for divinity itself cradles her heart. When she is showing up as the light aspect, which I feel like you have the ability here, there is the shadow and the light coming through with that devil. Now, the light is the embodiment of grace, courage, resolve, and stillness. When it's showing up as the dark, it's vain, wrathful, self-righteous, demanding. The queen does not accept the hand of a prince, but claims the throne, knowing the king draws near. She is a magnet for the fully embodied masculine and entertains nothing less. Some of you divine feminines out there, you may have been settling for a prince when now you know that you are the queen. In your queendom, right? In your queendom, you are manifesting here a partner who can meet you, right? In all of the power that can help you, challenge you. 5 of Wands, challenge you to be a better version of you by allowing you to grow and to expand without judgment, without criticism or harsh energies of the devil. You have here, let's see, it says read Cleopatra's monologue in Shakespeare's Antony and Cleopatra, Act 5, Scene 1. Then read about Inanna, Tara, and Hera. All right, so if you want to go deeper, check out Nikki Giovanni's Ego Tripping, Nina Simone singing Stars at the 1976 Montreux Jazz Festival. So ego tripping. So some of you have been in the realm of, maybe the wounded ego, okay? Or the power struggle where we let control, power, greed, money rule our queendom, right? And maybe this is someone that you have been dealing with as well that's been ego tripping. But I feel, Cancer, you have the ability to step up out of the cycle, choosing to consciously be aware of what the devil is in your own life. And you have the ability to liberate yourself from it, hence the death energy here. You get to choose to respond in a different way than perhaps you've been responding in the past. That is what I have for you beautiful Cancerians out there, or any placement of Cancer in your chart. If you enjoyed the reading, please give it a thumbs up. Feel free to share, like, subscribe, and hit that bell. And if you are interested in a personal reading or signing up for the monthly newsletter, you can find all of that information in the description box below the video.